how's it going, everyone? I'm your girl, Gabrielle, and you're watching Influenced. I am so happy that you're here. What can you expect to see? Well, this series will highlight some of the most impactful influencers on Instagram, where they will talk about their journey, share their story, and give advice on starting a personal brand from the ground up. I cannot wait to have candid conversation with strong, powerful women regarding the ins and the outs and the ups and the downs of this new but explosive industry. It seems that everyone wants to be an influencer today, and that can sometimes make it hard to stand out. But each woman that I have on this show will most definitely stand out in her own unique way. So think of this as your central hub where you can come to find your favorite influencers on Instagram or discover new ones. By the end of each interview, you will have a better idea of who the woman behind the brand is, behind the post, behind the camera. You will find out who influences them and why they choose to influence all of us every day. I am constantly inspired by these powerful, creative entrepreneurs who are paving their own future while using their platform and voice to do good. This is Influenced. I am so pumped about who is sitting next to me on this couch right now. I am joined by music and lifestyle photographer Nesrin Danan. Hi, Nesrin.
Hey, Queen.
You are so cool. I just want to start off by saying that. Your story, which is why I wanted to have you on this show, because your story is so, I feel like it's so different. You've really worked and hustled for what you want to do to get in this industry.
Yeah.
And you did it all on your own, and it's very inspiring.
Thank you so much. Well, and thank you for having me.
Oh my God.
You're so cool. We've been sitting here talking for 15 minutes and we're having a blast.
We're having the best time before the cameras even started rolling, you guys. We have so much to discuss. Obviously, all things photography, but I want to start at the very beginning. When did your love for photography begin? What is your earliest memory with the camera?
I would say earliest memory with the camera is my parents always used to send me to sleepaway camp and stuff with disposables. Yes. And I would take the worst photos ever. They were blurry, they were of the ground, they didn't make any sense, but I had so much fun just carrying around a little camera. So I would say that's my earliest memory with them. And then I got really into photography in high school. I went to high school with a film lab, which was awesome. So I took film classes. I learned how to develop my negatives and all of my own prints and stuff. And I was on my school's yearbook. And so that's when I learned digital photography and all the Adobe programs and everything. So I just got really into it. And then when I was in college, I was freelancing on the side.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
So your passion for live music led you to the world of concert and event photography. So I want to know a little bit more about mixing those two passions.
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I grew up in Corvallis, Oregon, which it's a college town, but it's kind of small. It's 2 hours from Portland, which is where all the concerts are and stuff. My mom was not about to drive me 2 hours to go to a concert. So I didn't grow up going to a lot of concerts. And then when I was in college and I was oh, I love concerts, I love photography. How can I go to these shows for free and then also take photos? I don't remember what show I was at, but I saw that there was a concert photographer and I was that is what I want to do. Yeah, and so I started doing that. I started hitting up every artist ever, and it was a time, when you could just DM somebody on Twitter or on Instagram and they would respond and they would give you a press pass. So it was very lucky in that time of the internet for me, coming up, because I could, after shooting, a couple shows, I could really just hit up whoever and they'd be oh yeah, come to the show, shoot some photos. And that's how I built my portfolio during school. So yeah.
And you did that all during school?
Yeah, I was in college.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's so, you're right. There used to be a time.
There used to be a time. No, it was really crazy. That's how I met so many, I guess huge celebrities now, but they were not very famous back then. They were just people I liked on SoundCloud.
Right.
And I would I'd message them and be hey, I saw you're coming to Portland. Can I come shoot your show? Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. So you've been studying both film and digital photography, as you said, since you were a freshman in high school. What is the main difference between the two?
For me, film was very I don't want to say like personal, but it's kind of like I still only shoot film for fun. Like I don't shoot work stuff on film, which I think people are always shocked by because I think my digital photography takes a lot of inspiration from like film, like my editing style.
Yeah.
But I would say the main differences are with digital, it's a lot more precise. There's a lot more room to like correct error and bring in colors and textures, and like you can control the depth and stuff. And with film, it's very like, hope you got a good shot because you're not gonna know until you get it developed. I think for me, film is just so like low stakes. Like I just shoot film like behind the scenes and like of my friends and like for fun, and it's just a very, I don't know, it's what keeps photography like fun for me still. Yeah. And then digital is work.
Film fun.
Yeah.
Digital work. That's a good approach. Okay, so you're usually the woman behind the lens, but sometimes we get to see you in front of the camera. You bless us with your beautiful face. So I want to know, who takes your photos?
Depends. Usually my friends, or I will take them myself. I'll set up like my phone or my camera on the timer. Yeah, I have a remote for my camera. So like I do self-portraits and stuff. But honestly, a lot of like my iPhone stuff, the more like influencer-y photos that I post, I'm just like, I direct my friends on how to take it. And luckily I have friends who are professional photographers or like other influencers or whatever. So it's like, they know the angles, they know what's going on.
Well, that was my next thing for you. What is your go-to pose in general? For anyone.
My go-to pose is definitely different than the pose I tell other people to do.
Oh, okay.
But
tell me both.
I was just in Mexico, like on a brand trip, and I did my like pose, the pose I do in every single iPhone photo, because I like don't know what else to do. It's just like a reflex at this point. I'm like standing, cross one leg over the other, and I kind of like hold my hands down in front of me, just because if you're not holding anything, or if you don't have like a prop, your hands can be awkward.
It can be awkward.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, so that's yours.
That's mine.
What would you tell me to do, or someone that you're shooting?
Generally, if I'm shooting like a model, especially like a girl, it's like kind of flipping your hair. I tell people to move around a lot. Whatever feels natural to you usually looks the best on camera. Another one I also do, especially for like close-in portraits, is like hand on the side of the face, tilt your head a little bit, something like that. Yeah, you know.
So fun. I need to get those tips from you.
I'll map it out for you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, this is an interesting one. I really want to know your opinion on this. How do you feel about filters that are common on, IG, Snap, TikTok? What is that showing the younger generation? And you know the filters I'm talking about. Not the fun ones with things popping out. I mean,
we're talking like a beauty filter.
Yes. Thank you. That's the word. Yes.
I don't like have a problem with them really. I mean, I think at this point we all know that's not realistic.
That's true.
And it also like shows people if you're using a filter. So like it says it on stories or it says it on TikTok or whatever. And I'm like, we know these people don't look like this.
Right.
And I think there's like, it's pushing like a beauty standard or whatever. I was like, is it? Because it doesn't really look that good.
That's true. I agree with you. I always say I'll use something, and that kind of leads me into my next question for you, but I'll like use something that changes the colors. That's more of like an effect. Would be called an effect?
Like a
preset.
Yes, like more like a preset.
Sure. I do never want something that's going to change the look of my face.
Totally. Or I'll use something cute with like bows and butterflies or like whatever.
You know that's a filter.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I agree with you. Do you have a favorite app when it comes to photo editing, like using colors and effects?
I'm definitely like a Visco girl on my phone. Yeah.
So when Visco first came out,
Love Visco.
Yeah, okay.
Love Visco.
It's been around for a little while.
It's been around for a minute because I remember when I was like on Tumblr, like Visco was coming out. Yeah, the Tumblr days.
Yes.
But also Lightroom. Adobe Lightroom is amazing, and that's what I recommend to all photographers and stuff, just because you can build your own presets and like save them in there and stuff. Yeah. And I know some people like editing better on Photoshop because it's a little more, like you can do more fine tuning with stuff. But for me, Lightroom has always hit for like my professional stuff. And then Visco I use for all of my like iPhone, anything on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you. Visco is great. Okay, old school photography, I say it like that, is coming back. We've been seeing it, as you were saying, with disposable cameras.
Yeah.
People now have like their disposable camera IG accounts.
Yeah.
I know you do something called Friends on Film.
Friends on Film.
Right? Yes.
It's a hashtag that I just do. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I put everything on one Instagram account just because I mentally can't compartmentalize. I'm like, if you want to follow me on Instagram, unfortunately, you're getting everything. you're getting my influencer post, you're getting what I ate for lunch, you're getting my professional work, and you're getting my film photos, and I don't know what to tell you.
I think that's great, all in one spot.
Yeah.
So just we're seeing it, you know, with disposable cameras. I have even been whipping out my old little Canon digital
the
thing
cool
from over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Are you happy this is making a comeback?
I think it's interesting because I just remember like MySpace or like early Facebook days where people would like take a digital camera on a night out and you'd upload like 85 photos in the morning that were like the worst things you've ever seen. They're like 2 pixels. I think it's nostalgic. I think it's fun, but I also think it's really funny because now people want that kind of like shitty looking aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whatever happened to everyone wanting their stuff to look like pristine and crisp and like what, I don't know. But you know, trends like go in waves, and it reminds me a lot of like early Tumblr, MySpace, Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, it's, you know, the resurgence.
Yes.
I like it though. I don't like mind it. I have a little digital point and shoot that I use also, except it's like a good quality one. It's like a Leica. It's like 20 megapixels. It's, but it's kind of the same vibe, just like better quality.
Same vibe, better quality. Well, it's funny, you were saying what happened. Everyone wanted those crisp photos. So, and we have seen that shift. You know, when iPhones first started coming out, oh my God, it was the camera. Look at this, how high tech it is for this small little thing. Yeah. How do you feel about iPhone photos still today? Like just the regular, normal?
I think there's a time and place for iPhone photos. I think iPhone photos are really great. Like I still do, you know, a photo down here and there of just like what's in my camera roll. And like, it's a very like personal way to share stuff. And it's also, again, I feel like it keeps you more in the moment. I feel like sometimes when I have to drag my camera out to things, I'm like so focused on like getting the perfect shot and the perfect exposure and like all of these things where I'm like, you could just snap a pic with your iPhone and like deal with it later.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't mind iPhone photography. I think it's funny when people are like, yeah, I'm like a professional photographer and they're using an iPhone.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. You've mastered like iPhone photography.
It's a little different than all the high-tech equipment. Okay, you've worked with tons of celebs, both, you know, shooting at their concerts and shooting their lifestyle portraits. Which type of shoot do you prefer more and why?
I think that's an interesting question because a couple of years ago I would have definitely said concert and music stuff. There was like a time in my career where I really not like boxed myself in, but I was like, music photography is like all I want to do. I was having so much fun touring all the time. Like that was it. Yeah. And I think a couple things like shifted my perspective on that. Number one was working in other environments. I got a bunch of like event jobs with like bigger tech companies and stuff. So I was doing a lot more like portrait stuff. I was doing a lot more event work. I was doing like all these other things where I was also having a ton of fun. It was kind of the same, like very like high profile clients and stuff, but it was just like a different way of shooting people. And I realized that I was having a good time doing that. Yeah. And the pandemic also, no tours, no concerts, no events. So I started doing a lot more like celebrity personal photography and like when influencers have brand deals, they want shot really professionally and stuff. And I think now I do prefer doing portrait stuff and like personal photography and like more like intimate moments like that, just because I don't know, there's something different about it. And I love being able to like create those moments that are like kind of behind the scenes that like people don't get to see that. I still love shooting concerts and again, creating those like beautiful moments, but they're so different. And I don't know. And something about celebrity stuff, like you show up, someone has full glam, they have a wardrobe, they have like all these like incredible things to putting together this look. And then I get to like kind of create what that looks like is awesome. Yeah.
You are a part of that.
Yeah.
It's you are. You're the whole thing. You're doing it.
Yeah. And then the photos like end up somewhere cool.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of celebs, I watched your shoot with G-Eazy on MTV's The series. And I loved seeing you do your thing. I loved seeing you direct a shoot. And I noticed how comfortable you made him feel. I know you guys, Nesrin has known G-Eazy. We call him for like 10 years. So yes, so you know him, of course, he's comfortable with you. But for, you know, a client that you just met, how do you put someone at ease behind the camera or they're in front of the camera?
I feel like the thing I get a lot is like, oh my God, like you're so easy to work with, like blah, blah, blah. I'm the type of person who I'm like, I could talk to a brick wall. Like immediately, like if we follow each other on Instagram, besties, like, so I think I'm just one of those people who comes into it not being like overly professional, but also not being like overly like too personal and weird. I'm just like, it's a very friendly vibe. I'm trying to put everyone at ease. I'm trying to like make people feel as comfortable as possible. And like usually we'll shoot somewhere that they've picked. We're shooting in outfits that they've picked. I try to make everything as easy as possible. And I also do like really form personal relationships with most of the people I shoot. So whether it's like the first shoot or like the 50th, it just gets easier from there. So,
of course. Of course, yeah. You definitely, I noticed it when you walked in. It's just,
it's easy vibes.
It's easy vibes. And yes, you are easy vibes.
Thank you.
You've also worked with countless large brands and social clients. Which has been your favorite, most memorable project so far?
I would say like most memorable to me still is when I first started shooting events for YouTube. To me, that was just like a really good introduction into like not music photography, because up until then all I had been doing was like touring with artists.
Right.
I didn't have a lot of experience like working in super branded spaces. And I just remember showing up to the first day of VidCon and like everyone on the face sheet I recognized immediately. They were like friends of mine, like YouTubers, Viners, whatever, people I would like go party with in LA.
Right.
So I was like, oh, this actually isn't gonna be as like hard and scary as I think. And the client loved the photos because I have personal relationships with all the talent, and the talent loved the photos and was reposting them because they like love my work. And it felt really good. It felt really like symbiotic. And I ended up doing a ton of event stuff with them for like 2 or 3 years, up until the pandemic. And then I would say more recently, I don't know, I did the Spotify Best New Artist party for the Grammys.
Oh,
and
my
that
goodness. Huge.
So cool. And it was just so awesome to have a brand like Spotify reach out and be like, hey queen, we need you for this. And we did like a collab post on Instagram. It was like BLACKPRINTS and Spotify.
Who is your dream celebrity client to shoot, even though your roster is already a dream? Like you've shot with the coolest people, but
I feel like that's a really tough question for me, because again, for a long time I was working with musicians and stuff, and I've like shot most of the musicians that I like really was like, wow, I would love to shoot with them someday. I think for me now, also the way my career is going, I'm really more interested in shooting people that I find like culturally relevant and like part of like, I don't know, the zeitgeist of whatever era we're in. As of now, I'm like Lindsay Lohan, Dream, Z-Way, Alex Cooper.
Oh my God, she is.
I'm trying to think who else. Rachel Sennett.
Yeah. These are all badass women.
I don't know. Just girls that I find very interesting, and that I'm like in, 20, 30 years, like if this would be like really cool to have like taken photos of them like during this time.
Yes.
I'm just really interested now in like more like capturing like a pop culture icons.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. So you do the music, you do the artists.
Yes.
And then
I do a lot of influencer stuff, and now I'm doing celebrity stuff. I'm just like I want to have photos that like last. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's incredible. You're gonna do it. I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
to see all the people you keep shooting. Getting into the brand aspect of what you do, and your own personal brand. How have you grown your following and expanded your BLACKPRINTS brand?
I mean, a bulk of growing my following was like 2016. Instagram actually directly reached out to me, and I was a suggested user on the platform for 3 months. They like brought me out to Facebook headquarters in Menlo Park, and like we did an interview. I worked with them like a lot when they had a community team still, which was very cool. And that, I mean, I went from like 40,000 followers to like 150,000 very quickly, like in 3 or 4 months. And then obviously it dropped back down because that's not sustainable growth. And then I've kind of built it up since then. But a lot of it is like working with celebrities or touring with artists, and people want to check in and see what you're shooting of like their favorite person. And I think that was a great way to grow, but it's also a little tough because like if I'm not posting a photo of someone's favorite celebrity, it's not that same engagement. So I've kind of worked on also like, I'm myself on Instagram. If you follow me, you get the whole nine. And so just building a relationship with people, being like, hey, like I'm cool, stick around.
Exactly.
I think just like being personal on social though, and like I share the ins and outs of everything. I share behind the scenes of my life. I share where I'm traveling, what I'm eating, like my home, all of that stuff. And so it's like just kind of developing a personal relationship, I would say, is the best way to like grow. And that's at least what my strategy's been.
If you did have one piece of advice to give like any young woman looking to start creating content, what would that be? How do you set yourself apart?
I would say, I mean, you need to find whatever you bring to the table that's unique, because especially now we're in this era of like, everyone has decided to be an influencer.
Right, it is.
Which, no shame, but I think what stood out so much about influencers, 5 to 7 years ago was like, there were a couple girls who had these really niche, like unique styles and ways of looking at things and things they were posting. And that's what like blew them up exponentially.
Yeah.
And if we're being honest, not everybody has that. Like, you can't just be an influencer. It's not like an easy job. And I think with this oversaturation of like, everyone thinks they're an influencer. So it's like, what is going to make you different? Because otherwise you're not standing out. You're not going to be noticed. You're in a sea of other micro influencers posting things,
The same stuff.
acting like it's an ad when they actually bought it. Like, it's...
No, you're right. And
Yeah.
you're right to say, I say the same thing. It is so oversaturated.
It's so oversaturated. It's really crazy.
But then there are those people that stand out, and you are so one of them. That's why I wanted you on the show.
Thank you.
Because you are, but you're different. You're posting different things.
Yeah, but I also do think I have the luxury of coming up when there weren't a lot of like female photographers with access to celebrities who were like also in college. Like, I had a very like interesting life that I was posting about online,
Right.
and I was the only person doing it.
Yeah.
And now I think with how oversaturated things are, I'm like, I don't know if I could like do that whole thing over again. But
Interesting.
yeah, now I'm at a point where obviously like I have the following, and
Right.
it's yeah,
And it's worked for you.
but
Yeah, no, that's
it's tougher now.
It
I think
is.
if you're about to start creating and posting content now, you really need to like nail down like what makes you stand out.
Who do you hope to influence every day?
I mean, I would just say young like women of color, especially if you're trying to do something freelance, like whether that's photography, graphic design, any kind of art. Just because when I was growing up, I didn't really have that. It was like a lot of, I mean, photography is a white male dominated space, and now there's a lot more women. There's a lot more women of color. It's like way more diverse. But especially when I was growing up, I was like, nobody here looks like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I made it work. But like, I think it would have been nice to have someone to like look up to, like representation. Yeah.
100%. And now you're that person for, I'm sure, so many young women.
I try.
Like
I hope
you
so.
are. Who influences you?
I don't know. I take influence from like a lot of different people. I think there are like some girls on Instagram who I follow that I'm like, I want to wear your skin. I literally am obsessed with you.
I get
Like,
that.
there's some girls who are just so cool and it's so effortless, and I'm like, it's crazy too, because I look at all their stuff and obviously I'm taking inspiration. It couldn't be me. Like, I would never actually like be doing what they're doing, but it's cool to watch, and I think it inspires me to post more of like what I'm doing and like what I like, and like maybe put a spin on like something kind of similar to them. Also though, like other photographers, I have so many incredibly talented friends who are photographers or other artists, and I don't know. I think I just take inspiration from like everything that's around me, and I think in LA it's really easy. There are a lot of very, very talented people here, and very, very cool people, and people with good ideas and stuff. Yeah.
That's true. We are surrounded by such a creative environment.
Yeah, it's like the best talent. It's crazy.
It is. It is. Okay, to wrap this up here, I always love to end every interview with this question. What does it mean to you personally to be an influencer? Like, what does that title mean to you?
Yeah, I feel like not being like an influencer in the traditional sense, I kind of was more of a photographer first and then became an influencer because I grew a following. I'm constantly aware of that, and I'm like, okay, I have to post stuff that people are gonna like and engage with and find cool and interesting and like not get mad at me.
Yeah. It's a lot.
And so yeah, it's a lot, and I'm just like constantly aware of that. I'm trying to like overall just like be like a positive influence, like something that comes across your feed and you're like, oh, like that's cool. I like that. I like her, whatever. Yeah, and it's something that's like constantly in the back of your mind. But yeah.
Yeah, because it can also mean a lot of different things. And,
Exactly.
And like you said, it's like you used your passion and talent and turned it into
An
a
audience
career for yourself
Yeah.
and an audience. You're right, and an
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah. So just trying to like constantly post stuff that like I like that also aligns
Yeah.
with my audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing such a good job at it.
Thanks.
I mean, seriously, you guys. And okay, Nesrin, I'm hiding this behind the pillow here.
Cute.
I thought, if I'm gonna have a photographer on the show.
Can I take your pic with that?
Oh, sure. I was gonna do a selfie.
Oh, we should do a selfie.
That's what I was gonna do.
Yeah, no, we'll do a selfie.
I mean, I'd love for you to take my photos, but okay, now we gotta get this out here. Okay, we can come right here. I love these. Do you ever?
I have
these?
the wider Instax. I don't have like this little one.
Okay, wait. I do this.
Like
right?
that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. Do you want to hold it?
Sure.
Look how cool.
Is it on selfie
I
mode?
think it is.
Oh,
Selfie mode.
perfect. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Wait, I think you have to hold it because that's the button.
Oh, sure. You want to do it this way?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
I can't wait to see that.
Gosh, it's so cute. So cute. Okay, wait. Let's do one more for good measure.
Yeah, one more.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Did the duck face.
Oh my god, one for you, one for me. Love it. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Of course. You can all find Nesrin, if you haven't done so already, at BLACKPRINTS on Instagram and Twitter. You will see everything from your favorite celebs to music festivals, concerts,
Travel stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and you'll see your stuff, your shots of yourself and what you're doing, but then also like your amazing work is on there.
Yeah.
So you guys should definitely check her out. And thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Influenced. Be sure to follow along on all social at influenced.theseries. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. And also make sure you comment down below your favorite influencers if you want to see them as a guest on the show. And I'm your host, Gabrielle Bailenson, and I'll see you guys later. That's a wrap.
Thank you.
We did it, guys.
That was so good. Oh my god, of course. Thank you for having me. That was so fun.
Thank you for being here.
You made that easy. You made that
so fun.
I would say earliest.
Sorry, wait for that. Sorry.
That's a perfect place to put.
Yeah. It's amazing. Okay. Oh, it was so good. You were
No, you're good.
roll,
You're
and
good. I would
like,
say it again. We can
You're
run it
good.
back.
You are. Bro, I know. This is downtown. Let me tell you. Oh, and then it just randomly stops. I know. There's something because we don't
There's
usually
something
have
going on.
this many sirens at all.
I know, like.
It was so close.
Thanks so much for watching Influenced. Be sure to click the subscribe button right here. And if you want more Influenced interviews, click right here. Don't forget to like and share this video. And also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. See you guys later.